The Path to Inner Peace. Lessons from Gautam Buddha's teachings on purposeful living. Imagine you're caught in a cycle of endless desires, chasing the thrill of fleeting connections and material success. But what if I told you that true fulfillment lies not in indulgence, but in purpose? Today, let's delve into a transformative story, inspired by Gautam Buddha's wisdom, a story that holds deep relevance for anyone seeking a life of meaning. Arjun was a young man from a vibrant, bustling village, known for his charm and easygoing nature. He was the type of person who lived for the moment, constantly seeking thrills and pleasures wherever he could find them. To Arjun, life was about seizing each day to fulfill his desires. He believed that happiness was found in wealth, excitement, and endless social connections. He was popular among his peers, admired by many, but his relationships were shallow, and his pursuits left little time for reflection or introspection. As he continued down this path, a subtle emptiness began to gnaw at him. Despite his carefree life, Arjun often felt a void within him that he couldn't explain. Yet, he brushed it aside, convinced that the next adventure, the next thrill, would finally bring him lasting happiness. One day, while strolling through the village marketplace, Arjun noticed a gathering of people listening to a calm yet compelling voice. It was the voice of Gautam Buddha, a wise teacher known for his profound insights into life. Although Arjun had heard of Buddha, he had never taken the time to listen. But something about this moment felt different. He found himself inexplicably drawn to the gathering, captivated by Buddha's presence and the serene strength in his words. As he stood there, Buddha's message on living with intention and moral purpose struck a chord with him. For the first time, Arjun began to question his choices, wondering if his restless search for pleasure had kept him from discovering something far more meaningful. As Arjun stood in the crowd, Buddha's words filled the air, each sentence carrying a calm power that seemed to cut through the noise of daily life. Buddha was speaking about choices, about the consequences that follow our actions, and the importance of living with clarity and purpose. He explained that while desires are a natural part of being human, true happiness and peace come from self-discipline and responsibility. Arjun felt a strange pull within him, a feeling he hadn't experienced before. It was as if Buddha was speaking directly to him, as though his own hidden questions were being answered. Moved by these words, Arjun approached Buddha after the gathering dispersed. Nervously, he introduced himself and shared his story, a life driven by impulse, by fleeting pleasures, and a restless search for happiness. He admitted that he was starting to feel an emptiness he couldn't ignore, and though he didn't fully understand why, he asked Buddha for guidance. Buddha listened attentively, with a gentle expression and a compassionate gaze. He didn't judge or criticize. Instead, he told Arjun that his search for happiness wasn't wrong, but his approach was misguided. When you chase after pleasure without purpose, Buddha explained, you are like a vessel with holes. You can keep filling it, but it will always be empty. True fulfillment comes not from fleeting thrills, but from building a life rooted in values and genuine connections. Arjun felt as if a veil had lifted. For the first time, he realized that his choices had been robbing him of the peace he had been seeking. He hadn't thought of life in this way before. But Buddha's words opened a door in his mind. With a new sense of clarity, Arjun resolved to explore this path, hoping to find a deeper sense of meaning. Arjun's struggle feels deeply relevant in today's world, where we're surrounded by endless temptations and distractions. Just like Arjun, many people are on a constant quest for happiness, often mistaking temporary pleasure for lasting fulfillment. Social media and advertising tell us that joy is only a purchase or an experience away, encouraging us to chase after things that promise satisfaction, but often leave us feeling even more restless. It's easy to see how Arjun's life, focused on instant gratification and fleeting pleasures, reflects our own lives in subtle ways. For example, the habit of endlessly scrolling through social media for validation, the pursuit of material possessions as a marker of success, or the compulsion to fill every moment with excitement. All these modern-day habits can make us feel momentarily satisfied, but rarely fulfilled. These pursuits create a cycle where each high is followed by a sense of emptiness, pushing us to search for the next thrill. What Buddha advised Arjun resonates strongly here. He suggested a life led by values and purpose, rather than momentary desires. Imagine approaching life as Buddha suggested, focusing on meaningful connections, self-respect, and the pursuit of goals that truly align with who we are. This doesn't mean we should deny ourselves joy, but rather that we should seek it in a way that nourishes our inner lives, not just our outer ones. Arjun's story serves as a reminder that real happiness often requires restraint and a conscious choice to focus on what genuinely matters. While it may seem challenging, choosing purpose over fleeting pleasure can lead us toward a more grounded and fulfilling life. Just as Arjun began to see, when we align our actions with our deeper values, we can find a joy that lasts longer and goes deeper than anything we can buy or chase. After his encounter with Buddha, Arjun felt a profound shift within himself. For the first time, he began to question his choices, seeing them not as isolated moments of pleasure, but as steps that shaped his life's direction. Inspired by Buddha's words, he decided to pursue a path of purpose and intentionality, leaving behind the constant search for short-lived thrills. Yet, this transformation wasn't easy. The familiar pull of his old lifestyle was strong, and at times, Arjun felt a deep loneliness. However, he was determined to find a deeper fulfillment, a happiness that came from a life of meaning rather than a life of excess. In the weeks that followed, Arjun started focusing on self-discipline, learning to be present with himself. Instead of filling every empty moment with distractions, he sought out activities that aligned with his newfound values, helping others, connecting with his community, and fostering meaningful friendships. Although it felt foreign at first, Arjun began to find comfort and even joy in this quieter, more intentional way of living. One day, while assisting an elder in his village, Arjun met a woman who shared his principles and sense of purpose. Unlike his previous connections, this one wasn't built on fleeting attraction, but on mutual respect and understanding. They bonded over their shared commitment to living with intention, and their relationship grew into something deeply fulfilling. Through this connection, Arjun realized that relationships, when founded on values and respect, could be a source of lasting happiness and strength. Arjun's transformation marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life. By choosing a life of purpose, he found the peace he had once chased in all the wrong places. His journey reminded him, and others around him, that true fulfillment comes not from indulgence, but from living in alignment with one's values and aspirations. Arjun's journey teaches us a valuable lesson about the true essence of relationships. In his past, Arjun's connections were fleeting, based on physical attraction or the excitement of the moment. However, as he embraced a life of purpose and integrity, he discovered that real relationships aren't built on temporary thrills, but on shared values, mutual respect, and genuine connection. This shift not only transformed his relationships, but also brought a profound sense of fulfillment that he had never experienced before. In today's world, where quick connections and instant gratification are common, it's easy to see relationships as something to consume rather than nurture. We often jump into friendships or romances based on surface-level attraction or the desire for companionship, sometimes overlooking whether the connection aligns with our deeper values. Arjun's story shows us that when we take the time to seek meaningful relationships, we end up with bonds that add lasting joy and support to our lives. Imagine building relationships as Buddha advised Arjun, focusing on compassion, honesty, and shared purpose. Instead of seeking people who only provide a temporary spark, we can look for those who resonate with our values and life goals. This doesn't mean we should avoid joy and excitement in relationships. It means we should build these joys on a foundation that will endure beyond momentary attraction. Relationships built on mutual respect and common values allow both people to grow, support each other, and find fulfillment together. Arjun's transformation reminds us that when we prioritize depth over superficiality, we open ourselves to the kind of connections that bring true joy. His story encourages us to seek relationships that not only align with who we are, but also inspire us to become better versions of ourselves. Through meaningful relationships, we can find companionship that is both enriching and enduring, bringing out the best in us and in those we love. As Arjun embraced his new way of life, he became a source of inspiration for those around him. His transformation from a man driven by fleeting pleasures to one guided by purpose and values resonated deeply with the people in his village. Over time, Arjun became a respected figure in his community, known not for his past indulgences, but for his wisdom, kindness, and dedication to living a meaningful life. His journey demonstrated that real change is possible, and that a life lived with integrity can positively impact others. Young men in the village, many of whom had once admired Arjun's carefree lifestyle, now looked up to him for a different reason. Seeing the peace and fulfillment he had found, they began to question their own lives and choices. Inspired by his example, they sought his guidance, hoping to find the same clarity and purpose he had discovered. Arjun welcomed these young men with an open heart, sharing with them the lessons he had learned from Buddha and his own journey. He encouraged them to consider the importance of self-discipline, the value of meaningful relationships, and the joy that comes from living a life aligned with one's values. Arjun's impact extended beyond his immediate circle. Through his actions, he created a ripple effect within the community. Others who had once been consumed by the pursuit of material success or superficial relationships started to reflect on their own lives. Arjun's transformation became a symbol of hope and possibility, a reminder that true happiness lies not in chasing external rewards, but in cultivating inner peace and purposeful connections. In this way, Arjun's legacy became one of compassion, wisdom, and inspiration. He showed his community that anyone could change their life, no matter their past. Through his example, he left a lasting imprint on the lives of those around him, a legacy that would continue to inspire generations. His journey reminds us that by transforming ourselves, we have the power to uplift and guide others, creating a legacy that endures far beyond our time. Through his journey, Arjun learned one of life's most profound lessons: the importance of valuing what we have. In his younger days, Arjun had lived recklessly, always pursuing the next thrill, often without regard for his own well-being or the feelings of others. But after his encounter with Buddha, he began to see life differently. He realized that the things he had once taken for granted, his health, his relationships, his time, were precious resources that deserved respect and careful consideration. In our modern world, it's easy to fall into the same trap Arjun did. We rush through life, always looking for more, often overlooking the blessings and opportunities right in front of us. We tend to focus on what we lack, rather than appreciating what we already have. Arjun's story reminds us that true fulfillment doesn't come from constantly acquiring more, but from recognizing the value of what we already possess. Buddha's advice to Arjun about living with purpose extended beyond his relationships. It was about all aspects of life. Arjun came to understand that his energy, his time, and even his personal talents were gifts meant to be used wisely. Rather than spending his days chasing temporary pleasures, he learned to invest his time and energy in meaningful pursuits, cultivating qualities like compassion, patience, and gratitude. By valuing these resources, he found a deeper sense of peace and happiness. His journey teaches us that when we start valuing what we have, whether it's our time, relationships, or talents, we begin to live more intentionally. We become less distracted by superficial desires and more focused on what truly matters. This lesson encourages us to pause, reflect, and appreciate the gifts in our lives, using them to build a life of purpose and fulfillment. Just as Arjun did, we can all find greater joy and contentment by valuing what we have and using it to leave a positive impact on the world around us. Arjun's journey holds timeless wisdom, yet it's perhaps even more relevant in today's fast-paced world. We live in an age where instant gratification is just a click away, and it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of endless desires, much like Arjun once did. His transformation, from a life of impulsive pleasure to one rooted in purpose and inner peace, offers a powerful reminder that fulfillment comes not from chasing external rewards, but from cultivating a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. Applying these teachings today means making conscious choices about where we invest our time and energy. In a society driven by social media, consumerism, and constant comparisons, Arjun's story challenges us to look beyond surface-level pleasures and ask ourselves what truly brings us joy and meaning. Like Arjun learned, it's not about abandoning joy or success, but finding fulfillment in ways that align with our values and allow us to grow. In our daily lives, we can take small steps inspired by Arjun's transformation. We might start by valuing our relationships more deeply, choosing to nurture connections that uplift us rather than those that drain us. Or we might set aside time to reflect on our personal goals and ask if they're driven by a need for approval or a genuine desire for growth. Just as Arjun learned to respect his resources, his time, energy, and relationships, we can strive to live with greater mindfulness, treating these precious aspects of life with the care they deserve. Ultimately, Arjun's story shows us that it's never too late to realign our lives toward what truly matters. In a world that often encourages us to seek happiness outside of ourselves, his journey reminds us that lasting fulfillment begins from within. By applying these teachings in our own lives, we can find a path to purpose, inner peace, and a legacy that resonates far beyond our personal desires. Arjun's journey from indulgence to purpose shows the profound impact of personal transformation. By embracing values and living with integrity, he found inner peace and inspired others in his community to pursue a life of meaning. His story teaches us that a true legacy isn't defined by past mistakes or material success, but by the positive influence we have on those around us. To build a lasting legacy, like Arjun, we can focus on small, consistent actions that reflect our values. It's in the kindness we show, the guidance we offer, and the principles we live by. Arjun reminds us that anyone can create a meaningful legacy through intentional choices and by striving to uplift others. Let his journey inspire us to live with purpose, leaving behind a legacy that resonates far beyond our time.